Hey guys, it's Alloy. I want to make a tutorial today to talk about when to sell and how to make that important decision because someone was just asking about it and I ended up using 3 important tools in digits to help come to a conclusion about one specific company, which is GameStop. So before we go too far into it, let's just take a look at GameStop's chart and let's muse a little bit about the emotions that come into play when dealing with movement like what we're looking at here. So one of our members just joined and he has already made his subscription back in a matter of hours actually, and since then he's only been doing better. He's paid for several months of subscription. So he did this by investing partially in GameStop, and it immediately jumped, which is, you know, a big part of why he has succeeded so greatly in paying for his subscription, making back that initial investment. So now time comes to make an important decision. Should he sell? Now, if we're working with someone who is a beginner at investing and it is in your hands whether or not they take those profits, it's very difficult to recommend that they do not sell. So what I'm going to do in this video is actually play devil's advocate. In general, I want to say beforehand that if you are doing well, i.e. if you're in a position where you feel like you're capable of bragging about some gains that you've made, psychologically that's probably an indicator that it's a good time to sell it, right? Because you don't really capture those gains until you realize them. I said the word really, but I mean it. Realizing those gains means to sell them, sell the shares that represent those gains. So without further ado, let's go into a little bit about that devil's advocate, that greedier approach I was just describing. Now, let's say that I wasn't being cautious with this gentleman's money and I wanted to advise that they hold long term and make even more money from the GameStop share movement. So let's look a little bit about how you might justify an action like that in digits. First thing I did, pretty sure, was look at industry clusters. So we see consumer is down, and it's interesting actually because when I was speaking with them, consumer was up. So it looks like there's been quite a bit of movement since I've been using digits. It's fluctuated a lot, which is an interesting indicator about risk, right? So we're avoiding main consumer because main consumer is things like toilet paper, other forms of paper. For some reason, paper comes to mind, but in general, it means necessities, daily necessities. GameStop does not fall under that category. Obviously, it has the word game in the title, so it's more of a consumer stock, right? And when we're looking at the consumer category, we see a lot of fluctuation just today. That's kind of a red flag that was not present when I was speaking with them. So already pretty interesting. Then what did I do? I'm pretty sure I looked at what would I have done? I looked at movement predictor. Yeah. And it's right here. We still see it. And what I explained was movement predictor is currently accurate given GameStop's price. Yesterday it predicted that we would be at 20 and immediately, so yesterday it predicted the price movement would be at around 20 for that day, and it was for the 12th. And today it's jumped up a lot. So movement predictor is not updated yet, but yesterday it said 19 and it got it correct. However, the average of 3 predictions is 15 and the bearish prediction is 7. Those are represented by the linear regression and polynomial regression lines, and they are a little bit less accurate, but they are more like an EMA or an SMA. And so for that reason, you may want to consider those things as sort of hedging factors, or at least bits of information you might use to make more of a hedge position against a long position for GameStop, right? That is just one of the approaches you can take. Now, at the end of the day, at the end of the trading day, this graph will update and we'll have a new prediction for GameStop. That will be very interesting as it takes into account today's movement. So maybe we'll make an update or a follow-up to that, but at the end of the day, new data will be calculated in the machine learning algorithm. The AI will present a new prediction, and from then we'll know if the added volatility from jumping up to $25 today is significant enough to throw it in a new direction. After that, what I'm fairly certain I did is look at insider detection. So insider detection, I'll just play the role of someone who hadn't already used it, looks for high volume spikes and then the following trend just after that. And you can change the sensitivity, which is basically the level of paranoia or sternness or skepticism rather, with regard to looking for those volume spikes. So by turning it up, I've turned up the skepticism, and by turning it down, I'm opening up like sort of a gateway for more paranoia. So we open up, or we turn up the skepticism a little bit, and we still find the signal on the 11th, just 2 days ago, where it was bullish. Now, this is one of those fantastic examples with digits where if you had listened to this on the 11th, just 2 days ago, and we see now the price is 26, 27, it's going up as I make this video. It's still going up very quickly. It's fascinating stuff. So if you had bought this, you would have made a lot of money. It's just one of those situations with digits. And look, the bull flags are everywhere except for previously. So it's really easy to contrast this with the previous page, i.e. the sort of October and September months. And when we transition into November and December area and into the new year, it was just all bullish. And people are making money because digits told them about it. So this video was meant to show you how these factors can be combined to help you make a decision on when you want to sell. It's not an easy decision ever, and we still got some conflicting information. The movement predictor is a tricky tool. You know, it's important to understand that every day the market changes everything. The movement of all these stocks in each of their industries combine to change one another. They're interdependent. So it's really important to note that at the end of the day, this information can change pretty drastically, and we'll want to look at it again. All the complicated tools that rely on daily data, such as the movement predictor, or if we take a second to look at dark pool trend, it even says right here the numbers, or the times for when our data is accumulated and processed and when it's worth looking at after the trading day is sort of culminated. So there are a couple modules where it's really time sensitive, just like the market itself. Not a foreign concept to you guys, hopefully, but just one of those things that I wanted to point out during this video. And when you're making these conclusions about when to sell for yourself, keep that in mind. Movement predictor and dark pool trend, very important to note what time you're looking at the data and what prediction it was making. So I hope this helps, and if you guys have any questions, as usual, just head into the Discord and we're happy to help. Yeah, have a good one, and try not to get too greedy. Learn to sell when the best time is here. Yeah, peace, guys.